Imagine you sell your startup tomorrow for $100 million. Liquid, tax-free cash hitting your account all at once. We are conditioned to believe this is the ultimate finish line. You have won capitalism. You never have to worry, struggle, or stress about the logistics of survival again. But psychologists who treat the ultra-rich recognize a very different reality. They call it sudden wealth syndrome. Without the daily friction of earning a living, people often experience a total collapse of identity, accompanied by severe anxiety and insomnia. This chart visualizes a psychological concept called the Hedonic Treadmill, based on a landmark 1978 study by Philip Brickman. He tracked the happiness levels of two radically different groups over time: major lottery winners and victims of severe accidents who experienced paralysis. Over time, both lines converge. The winners didn't stay euphoric, and the accident victims didn't remain devastated. They all returned to a baseline metric called the happiness set point. Your brain is wired to adapt to new circumstances, meaning the emotional impact of any major event eventually flatlines right here. Our nervous systems evolved to keep us seeking, not to let us rest. This biological mechanism ensures that endless financial accumulation cannot produce lasting satisfaction on its own. As wealth increases, a process called hedonic desensitization sets in. Flying private or buying expensive art rapidly shifts from a thrilling novelty to a mundane expectation. You literally require more stimulation to feel the exact same level of pleasure. And as the physical thrills fade, social connections degrade. When you control immense resources, it becomes incredibly difficult to separate genuine affection from transactional motives. You start to question if people are interested in you or in your access. To protect themselves, the ultra-wealthy often build behavioral walls. They become highly secretive about their finances. Conversations become carefully curated, and emotional vulnerability feels like a security risk. This hypervigilance breeds deep isolation. Without a structured purpose, many attempt to manufacture the dopamine hit of their initial windfall through frivolous spending, high-risk gambling, or substance abuse. Infinite capital is highly efficient at removing the logistical barriers of life, but in doing so, it creates an internal emotional vacuum that our psychology simply isn't equipped to fill. To survive this psychological trap, the ultra-rich employ specialists. Enter the wealth therapist and a dedicated organizational structure known as the modern family office. Historically, a family office was a private wealth management firm. It existed to ensure tax compliance, manage investments, and protect physical assets. But as trillions of dollars currently move from one generation to the next, these institutions have realized that financial engineering collapses if you don't actively manage the emotional state of the heirs inheriting it. Mutual trust employs a framework that places financial capital inside a broader context called the purpose of wealth. In this model, the family's assets are managed as part of a strategy that prioritizes meaning over simple accumulation. The world's most enduringly wealthy families don't rely on willpower to stay grounded. They build rigid institutional structures to force meaning into their lives. First, the family office attacks isolation by mandating family unity and harmony. This is achieved through structured governance meetings, shared decision-making processes, and facilitated retreats designed to restore broken communication. Sociologist Dr. Bruce Heddy found that dedicating your life to zero-sum goals, where your gain requires another's loss, like status or power, correlates with lower subjective well-being over time. Conversely, shifting to non-zero-sum goals, pursuits enriching your relationships and society, creates a feedback loop of psychological growth. To operationalize this, the family office funds specific strategies for learning, engagement, and fulfillment. They force individual family members to identify and pursue passions outside the family's balance sheet, creating an identity independent of wealth. They also integrate community impact and philanthropy directly into the family's governing strategy. Heirs are required to move beyond passive check writing and engage in active service on boards and within charitable organizations. Clinical research suggests that these altruistic pursuits resist the decay of the hedonic treadmill. Because giving to others provides a varied and socially reinforcing source of reward, it helps maintain a higher level of life satisfaction than material consumption. By combining governance, personal development, and active service, the family office repurposes wealth from a source of social friction into a mechanism for family cohesion. This entire system requires a massive shift in perspective. A successful heir must abandon the role of a consumer of wealth and adopt the role of a steward of capital. The pursuit of social status is fragile and isolating. Working alongside your family to build a multi-generational legacy creates deep, enduring alignment. You don't need a family office to apply this logic to your own life. The mechanics of the hedonic treadmill govern the human brain, whether your net worth is $10,000 or $10 billion. Capital is an effective tool for solving physical problems. It buys shelter, medicine, and time. But it fails when used as a blueprint for human identity. Wealth eliminates the friction of the physical world, but only authentic human connection and a shared contributing purpose can permanently outsmart our psychology.